patriarchal system tries to control the whole macro through the micro unit like family. Many a time we think controlling a family is indirectly controlling the universe. That's why there is a ಜಾಣ್ನುಡಿ ನಾಣ್ಣುಡಿ ಇನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ. ಲೋಕವನ್ನು ಗೆಲ್ಲುವವ ಮೊದಲು ಕುಟುಂಬವನ್ನು ಗೆಲ್ಲಬೇಕು, ಅಥವಾ ಕುಟುಂಬವನ್ನು ನಿಗ್ರಹಿಸಿದವನು ಲೋಕವನ್ನು ನಿಗ್ರಹಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ದ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ನಿಗ್ರಹ, ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಆರ್ ಗೆಲ್ಲು, these words are not important, but the point that we should see here is the connectivity between micro and macro. If you want to do something great, you should know how to treat the small. Okay, unless you know, ಇದನ್ನು ಮಿಲ್ಟನ್ ಭಾಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನು, ಒಂದು ಬೆಕ್ಕಿನ ಮರಿಯನ್ನು ಆಟ ಆಡಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರದ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಹುಲಿಯ ಮರಿಯನ್ನು ಆಡಿಸ್ತಾನೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್, ಕಾಂಚೆ ಇಲ್ಲಯ್ಯ's concern is, unless and until you clear your society which is suffering from a disease, a deadly disease like caste system, how do you expect new India? Caste has been the question. Caste has been standing before us every now and then with a new slogan. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಮತ್ತೆ ಈ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಈ ಕಾಲಘಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಲೈಯನ್ನು ಈ ಎಸ್ಸೆ ಓದಬೇಕಾದ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲದರಿಂದ ಮುಕ್ತ. ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲಿ ವಿ ಬಿಕೇಮ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್, ಬಟ್ ಮೆಂಟಲಿ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ colonial system, imperial system. The Dalita Bahujana community for Ilaya views sexuality as a natural phenomenon and approaches in an open-minded way the problems pertaining to family and relationship. Children are introduced to these aspects in the family space, since their culture tends to judge younger ones mostly as it judges the adults. And according to the author, this gives a kind of the parity in their community consciousness. He observed that their sense of morality and immorality was not divinely derived, but rather was constructed much logically in terms of the harmony of family. What he wants to say, ನೈತಿಕತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅನೈತಿಕತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಗಂಡು ಹೆಣ್ಣಿನ ಜನನಾಂಗಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂಟಿಕೊಂಡದ್ದಲ್ಲ. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಲಯ್ಯ. ಒಂದು ಮನೆತನ, ಅದು ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ನೀಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ನಿನ್ನೆ ನಾನು ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಈವನ್ ಬಾಯ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸಂಚಾರಿ ವಿಜಿ, who passed away recently, he talked openly about sexuality of the man, and he said it's just a food, and whenever it is required, you treat it in your own way. ಆದರೆ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗೆ ಇತ್ತು. ವಾತ್ಸಾಯನನ ಕಾಮಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಬರೆಯುವವರೆಗೂ, ಅದರ ಪೂರ್ವದ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ವೇದಿಕ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ದೇಶದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಜ್ಞಾನಗಳು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರವಾಗಿದ್ದು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದರದೇ ಅಂತ ಗೌರವ ಇತ್ತು. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ವೇದಿಕ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ವೆನ್ ಪುರೋಹಿತ ಚಳುವಳಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆಲ್ ಓವರ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ವಾಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್, ವಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಸೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಪ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ. ಮನುಷ್ಯರ ಶರೀರಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂಟಿಕೊಂಡ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಶುದ್ಧಿ ಮತ್ತು ಅಶುದ್ಧಿಯ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಿಂದ ನೋಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಒಂದು ಮಂತ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ ಹೆಣ್ಮಗಳಿಗೆ, ಅದರೊಳಗೆ ಶುದ್ಧಿ ಅಶುದ್ಧಿಯ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂತು? ಆ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ತಮಿಳುನಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಖುಷ್ಬು ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನವನ್ನು ಒಳ ಹೋಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಯಾಕೆ ಶಬರಿಮಲೈ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಣ್ಣುಮಕ್ಕಳು ಬರಬಾರದು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿನೋಬ ಭಾವೆ ಇಡೀ ಉತ್ತರ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಣ್ಣುಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನು ಕರೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗೋದು. ಸೊ ಆನ್ ದಿ ಒನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ we are seeing it as it is a physical process. You know very well, without that a health of the woman cannot be good. You cannot expect it good. It is a thing to be to sent away. But on the other hand, you are judging her or his whole personality on the question. ಈಗ ಅವನೊಬ್ಬ ಚರ್ಮದ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಚರ್ಮದ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ದು ಅವನ ವೃತ್ತಿ. ಅವನು ಚರ್ಮದೊಂದಿಗೆ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಡೋಂಟ್ ಅಲಾವ್ ಹಿಮ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಎಂಟರ್, respect to the individual, honor to the individual. So he says, you have the right to work, but not to the fruits. How nonsensical our Bhagavad Gita is teaching. It cannot be accepted. So he says, he argues that such a statement puts all the fruits at the hands of the Brahminical supranastics, with the working Dalita Bahujanas class left with nothing except blood and toil. It's a beautiful argument. You are working and result is yours. You are the boss of your fate. You can shape it as you wish. But what the Gita says work, and somebody will decide your wages. Somebody will pay you. Somebody will tell you for what you are worthy. But Kanchailaya opposes it. I know for what I am eligible in this world, because with all the consciousness I have indulged in the activity. So this excessive control over the microcosmic economy by the Baniyas, attributed to their affiliation with Brahmanism, has in turn caused the practices of the caste-based discrimination of Dalita Bahujans. He said, in discriminating, exploiting, suppressing Dalitas or all the minor communities of India, Baniyas and Brahmins are in the same tempo, the same speed. They never felt ashamed of themselves by practicing all such activities, rules in the society. This clearly shows that in Indian society, wealth has always been the deciding factor of the power and politics. Okay, if you constantly keep certain group of society in poverty, how do you expect their social involvement? How do you expect their active participation in power and politics? So they were economically deprived. They are kept out of the structure of the total thinking process of economy. So they are always treated as laborers. So the Baniyas in the space and Hindus in the nation practice the same manners to preserve their social seat of power. So he says, emergency of the neo-kshatriyas and the reorganization of power relations. So he says, always Kshatriyas were used by Brahmins. Okay, what is his argument? He explores how the very idea of caste system creates the divide in the minds of people and how it inherently carries the character of internal power struggle. Whenever question a battle facing the enemy, losing the life comes, it is always Kshatriyas who will be brought to the front, and they will be appeased by some awards, Paramavira, Amar, Jai Jawan. All these are beautiful words to make people mad or befools, and they will be used against somebody, and a particular group of the society is there in the society who always safeguard their life. So as the name suggests, he tries to find these power relations with reference to the new section of people whom he calls the Neo-Kshatriyas. He tries to locate the binary between the Neo-Kshatriyas and Dalita Bahujans in the greater socio-political context. Just observe, during the process of Rama Mandira Abhiyana in India, a lot of people were killed, they were murdered. How many of Brahmins were killed is the question. Recently, a movement was made, an observation was made. public fund is collected to build Rama Mandira. But who are the great contributors? They are some Marwadis, some Jains, some Baniyas, some Hindu, some Lingas, some Kshatriyas. But how many Brahmins contributed in a huge money, in a huge amount of money to construct the temple? So, by establishing hegemony in all structures in which power operates, these Brahmins have been killing the spirit of India. ಅಧಿಕಾರದ ಎಲ್ಲ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತಮ್ಮದೇ ಅಂತ ನಿಯಂತ್ರಣವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿರುವ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣ ವರ್ಗ ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನು ಬಳಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಿದೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಕಾಂಚ ಇಲಯ್ಯ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲಯ್ಯ ನೇಮ್ಸ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ರೆಡ್ಡೀಸ್, ವೇಲಮ್ಮಾಸ್ in South India, Maraths, Patels, Rajputs in North India, whom he identifies as members of the Neo-Kshatriya class. ಇವರು ನಿಯೋಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯ ನವಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯ ಸಮುದಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ? ವೇಲಮ್ಮಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ಮರಾಠ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ಪಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ರಜಪೂತ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಇವರನ್ನು ಯುದ್ಧ ಭೂಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಿತವಾಗಿ ಬಳಸಲಾಗುತ್ತದೆ. The question of Hindus and Muslims is an ever-ending topic in India, where these communities are used and the politics of the Brahmins is systematically established in the country. So he says, there is nothing like mine, everything is ours. So to quote him, he says, this same multi-layered relationship contributes to the spirit of unity among Dalita Bahujanas. So there is nothing like man, everything is ours. However, Hindu ಹೇಳಿ. ಹಲೋ ಪವನ್, ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ? ಯಾರು? ಓಕೆ, ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಮೇಡಮ್. So we went little ahead and some 3-4 points we have discussed already. So now we are in the almost the last chapter of the essay. He is talking about Hindu ideology upholds the notion of private property which is used by the upper caste combined to assert and exert political power, which roots from casteized patriarchal authoritarianism. So I was talking about Neo-Kshatriyas. Who are the Neo-Kshatriyas? I told, and how they were used, and how Hindu ideology upholds again the patriarchal system in various forms. So Kancha Ilaya, so he says Brahmins, Baniyas and Neo-Kshatriyas, the wilders of the sceptre themselves. The Dalita Bahujanas were again left out in the dark. However, the only successful movement was the Ambedkar's anti-caste movement, which dealt a heavy blow to Hinduism and Brahminical hegemony during and after the independence, during and after the colonial rule, imperial rule. The struggle is still on. It is continuing from Ambedkar to till today. He says, ultimately, there are two powers which have been you control in this country, India. One is the Brahmin. 2% of Brahmins rule 98% of Indian mind. Second one, Baniyas. People from Gujarat. Okay, Gandhi is also a Baniya, and all the people now who are involved actively in politics are Baniyas. And third one, Neo-Kshatriyas. These two, Brahmins and Baniyas, they never directly jump into the battlefield. They never face any Muslims, they never any Christians, any agent, any enemy coming outside. Always they use Kshatriyas, okay, against other communities to protect the interests of the Brahmins and Baniyas. So this is the argument of Kancha Ilaya.